Hello and welcome to It's Never Too Far Away. In this video I will be traveling on Icelandair from London and to London, as well as on the island itself. So, who is Icelandair? It is the flag carrier of Iceland, which is of course a small but very special volcanic island located deep in the northern Atlantic Ocean. The route network has been developed as a hub system, which is serving not only both Europe and North America, but also connects the two. Aircraft arrive in a wave from Europe and then depart to many points in North America and vice versa. The airline is also trying to bring that Icelandic touch to all these many airports by featuring special liveries. One Boeing 757 spots the nation's flag. Two others are probably some of the most impressive special liveries that can be seen around the globe. This one features the glaciers of the island. And this one prominently shows how the country is a top spot for witnessing those magic northern lights. So far, so good. I am joining the airline for a Boeing 757-200 flight from London Heathrow's Terminal 2 to Keflavik, the international airport of the capital Reykjavik. Let's have a look at what the airline's homepage reveals about their aircraft. We learn that Boeing has built 913 examples of the 757-200 and that at Icelandair they carry 184 passengers. Some technical specification and then the seat map. It shows that there is a business class that has 2x2 seats per row, and in economy it is 3x3 seats per row. Finally, each aircraft registration and name is mentioned, including a short description of the place that is behind these names. Let's go on board. The economy seats have adjustable headrests. There is a personal entertainment system screen. The leg room is good. There is also a USB plug. The crew. They gave a very warm welcome, and overall during the flight they were very friendly. Service. Well, water was free. Drinks and food were available for purchase. Water was offered again a bit later during the flight. With a duration of 2.5 hours, the flight was pretty much a regular European service. With a real business class cabin and entertainment screens also in economy class, the airline offers more than what you usually get in Europe. This, of course, has a lot to do with the transatlantic business model. In Keflavik, the aircraft was parked at a remote stand with buses taking the passengers to the terminal. My final destination for the day was Akureyri in northern Iceland. To reach there, I had a booking on a domestic flight. There are only 2 or 3 other local airports in Iceland, and they are served from Reykjavik domestic airport. The number of local flights is so small that there is no direct connection between Keflavik and Reykjavik airports. I took a taxi which brought me there in 45 minutes and at a cost of the equivalent of $140. At the airport, check-in and this sole boarding door are only a few steps apart. The flight was operated by Icelandair's regional arm, which has a small fleet of Bombardier Dash 8 200 and 400 versions. The airline's homepage again has some general information plus technical data about the aircraft. together with the seat map showing an all-economy cabin with 76 seats, and also the names and what's behind them of the two examples of the 400 version in the fleet. Let's go on board. The seats had not much to them, but the leg room was absolutely good. Inside the cabin, the feeling was that of a regional jet. It was also in a very good shape. The crew gave a friendly welcome and made all usual announcements in a proper way. The safety instructions came from tape and were therefore loud and clear. During the total flight time of 35 minutes, there was no service on offer. There's not really that much more to say about such a short flight. To me, its true fascination was to actually travel on a local route in Iceland. I was really looking forward to the flight back during daylight time on the next day. Arrival was a quick affair, with around 10 minutes between touchdown and sitting in the taxi. These regional planes carry their own steps on the inside of the door. The arrivals and departures board in Akureyri gives you a feeling about the size of the airport. There's no flight, or there is currently one flight being handled. The sun is really low, it's just above the mountains. It doesn't go up very high this time of the year in this place. My flight, or my aircraft actually, has arrived well on time, but the departure back to Reykjavik has been delayed by 1.5 hours due to technical reasons. I don't mind, because I enjoy hanging out at this totally remote airport. Back to the departures board. As you can see, my departure at 1 p.m. was delayed until 2:40, and there was an arrival with an irregular flight number at 2:20. Also, there was a departure with an irregular flight number at 3 p.m. While the aircraft had already landed even a little bit ahead of time, that aircraft had now technical issues. Actually, after 2 p.m., the other one of the two -8-400s in the fleet arrived here. Wow, they really flew in this extra aircraft. It was supposed to be this one, but for technical reasons departure was delayed by 1 hour 40 minutes. It appears that this was the time they needed to fly in this aircraft. It arrived only 15 minutes ago and now it's boarding for this one. The next scheduled flight would have actually departed in 1 hour from now anyway. Inside, of course, all was same as the evening before, with the aircraft now being the exact same one. The crew was not really so friendly this time. Also, when I asked for the lavatory in the rear, when it was actually at the front, the disturbance was not really appreciated. The announcements were made in a fine way though. Again, there was no service provided on this flight of 34 minutes. Anyway, the true beauty of this flight was the view out the window. The level of service is not what made these flights great, but the location itself is providing for magic moments. And certainly providing air links has its own challenges in a place like Iceland. And the safety protocol is obviously absolutely excellent at Icelandair. After arrival back at Reykjavik, I had made arrangements for renting a car. Just when I stepped outside to the car park, the other Dash 8 also came back and was obviously ferried empty to here. After some hours in Reykjavik, I drove back to Keflavik to spend the night close to the airport there. It was an early breakfast at the airport before catching my Icelandair flight back to London Heathrow. The flight was operated by a 1-year-old Boeing 737 MAX 9. Once again, the homepage was featuring the same kind of information as before, also for the MAX 8 and 9 aircraft, with which the airline is currently modernizing its fleet. The seat map shows that also the Boeing 737s offer a dedicated business class cabin, which is a rare thing in European single-aisle planes. Going on board. The economy seats had adjustable head rests, quite large entertainment system screens, and USB plugs. Leg room was not spectacular, but also not the worst. For me, it was the first time to see a Wi-Fi sign in the overhead panel. The boarding welcome and the crew announcements were very nice. All 4 cabin crew were of an age that in most airlines would be very senior. During the flight, they were not very motivated and preferred to hide in the galley. The aircraft featured mood lighting, which was set to a light blue, fitting to the early morning departure time. When it came to service, after reaching cruising altitude, pre-ordered meal boxes were handed out. Otherwise, also food and drink items were available for purchase. All in all, as before on the Boeing 757, also on the 737, Icelandair offers short-haul flights in an aircraft featuring things known from longer-range flying, such as dedicated business class and personal screens also in economy class. The service offered and the crew attention and attitude were not different from the usual rather low level that is nowadays common in Europe. As always, thank you so much for watching.